Hi, everyone. We are going to give this a few minutes here while everybody starts to join. So I am also pushing this over to LinkedIn Live so people can give us a shout out there as well.
See here.
All right. I think we are over there.
Nice and easy.
It looks easy. I've been messing with this all day.
Yeah. No technical issues today.
There we go. And if you put into the chat where you're joining us from, we always like to hear that. And I am going to get started here in just a few moments. We've got
Oregon.
Oregon. Oh, nice.
Willamette Valley. Great wine.
You're just getting going over there, Nicole. We've been up and at 'em for a while here. I'll just give us a few more minutes. And then we will get going. We've been looking forward to this one for a while, huh, Dennis?
Yeah, we've been going back and forth and talking for quite some time, and now getting a little more opportunities to jump on and do the podcast and do the meetings. We're not traveling the entire time, which I do fly back to Dallas at 5 a.m. So
are you on the
right
5:15 tomorrow with me?
Oh, you're going too? Oh yeah, I forgot. We're going to the same place.
Save me a seat on Southwest there, 5:15, huh?
Oh no, I'm spoiling myself. I'm going out of Palm Beach Island, or excuse me, Palm Beach this time. I'm not making the drive all the way down to Lauderdale.
Oh, there you go. Well, we'll probably still get there at the same time.
Yeah, we'll be landing at the same time, and anything's better than going out of Miami. So
that is for sure, for sure.
For those who don't know it, that place is a nightmare.
Yes, it is. Especially with all the traveling we do.
Texas.
I'm
getting to know the Amex Lounge at Dallas Fort Worth Airport pretty well too.
There you go. Gotta love the lounges. Gotta love the lounges.
Oh,
all right, so we will go ahead and get started, and this will also be recorded, so we will share it after the fact. So if you are in and have to leave, all of this will be recorded and sent out to you. So without further ado, let's get going. So today on our One Focus, so we are going to be talking about why selling what we prescribe as physicians benefits our patients. And so I'm joined today by the lovely Dennis Evans of Dry Eye Rescue, and his brother Aaron Evans is also an OD in South Florida. Dennis, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the eye care realm.
I was in banking in a prior life about 14 years ago. And at that time, Aaron had graduated Nova, had jumped in and bought his first practice, and needed some help with that first office. It was a little overwhelming at the time, and he is definitely sharp. Could have done it by himself, but invited me over. And next thing you know, we had a second location, and I was getting ready to get my master's and go back into banking. And we had a third location and a fifth location, and now we have 10 locations and Dry Eye Rescue and a few other projects. And it's been a lot of fun because we just don't, he doesn't sleep, and we have a lot of fun just trying to take all of our own challenges in our practices and see if we can come up with a way to make not only better for us, but for the industry as a whole. So it's it's been go time for about 12, 13 years now, but a lot of fun for sure.
Amazing. And for those of you that don't know me, I am a private practice optometrist. I have a practice here in South Florida and have owned that now. And we're going through a buyout process right now, which is in and of itself could be a podcast. But right. I also am the co-founder of Dr.Contact Lens, where we also are doing the same thing. So seeing what we needed as a practice to really help our practices grow and thrive in this evolution of the digital age and really be there for our patients. And so these are the conversations that I get to have on meeting the Dennis Evans of the world while I'm out on the sales floor and wanting to present that so we can help better our profession and help be there for our patients. So we're going to pose a couple of questions. If you have any, you can put them into the chat or the Q&A, and we're happy to answer those as well. And we just kind of like to keep this light and fun on your lunch hour today. So I'm going to pose this question to you here, and you'll see 2 QR codes down there. You can see us at Dr.Contact Lens and learn more information there, or the QR code there brings you to Dry Eye Rescue. So Dennis, refraction. People are trying to tear out the refraction from the eye exam. How are we able to, and why should we be looking at refraction in a new light as more of an opportunity for our practices and our patients?
There's a lot to the flow that we've been doing kind of the same thing for a long time. And we're all trying to come up with a new way to come up with a different result, right? We don't want to keep doing the same thing and expecting, something different. We want to make a change in there. So throughout this process, we're trying to bring it out of, into like say dry eye, look almost at the dental model, to where during the exam, you're noticing things that you need to come back for in more of a specialty evaluation, say dry eye. And that's really what we're really doing with the displays, the internal marketing. We want to take a lot of the selling out of the exam lane and create awareness of these services in there. So by the time you're in that refraction or you're separating it and talking it in a different light, when you bring these things up, it's not catching the patient out of left field. They've been somewhat aware of it. And rather than just coming in for Ray-Bans and you say, hey, would you like a LipiFlow or IPL treatment? And it's a bit of a shock and awe. So similar to kind of bringing the refraction out, dry eye evaluations, we do them separately. We bring it up in our comprehensives and say, listen, during your pre-testing, we noticed that you would benefit from some of our dry eye services due to your, meibography, et cetera. And it ends up giving the dry eye evaluation more value to the patient as well, because they have to come back for something separate. And when they come in for that, it is 100% pure dry eye diagnostics evaluation and talking about the treatment. So it tends to help out a lot there on creating that value.
Yeah, and I think hitting on that a little bit harder, we look at this refraction as a piece of the puzzle, which it is. And it enables us to then go deeper into those conversations for really helping solve the patient's issues. I like looking at the refraction. You hit on it a little bit, but the whole dental model, right? You go in for your 6-month cleanings, you leave with something, and then that feeds the dentist all of the procedures. If we look at refraction in the same way, the refraction is getting us in to see the patient, and that leads us down the path to help the patient, whether it's with myopia management, dry eye, aesthetics, or a medical treatment that they may need. Looking at it as a piece of the puzzle is more beneficial. As more and more companies are wanting to take out the refraction from the eye exam, we also have to look at it, again, in this different light and look at it from the doctor portion, look at it from the patient portion, and also look at it from the industry portion. And I think we can come together to make this process easier while still taking care of the patient. So realizing that refraction is only the beginning of that relationship, which gives us the opportunity to help solve the patient's issues. And what I've been doing recently is when I do walk in to see the patient, I've been asking them, what is important to you as I examine your eyes? And it's amazing the conversations that you can have when you start with just a simple question like that on what the patients are opening up to versus just these yes or no or these big questionnaires that we have patients fill out where they know that you're trying to eventually sell them something with all these questionnaires. We can definitely questionnaire our patients out for sure. So it's important that we use those individually as we can help solve the patient's issues.
And one thing that we found out with all this since the beginning, what blew our minds, we were just getting into dry eye and we invested in the diagnostics. We invested in the treatments. We went all in, we put the displays in, like, all right, now what? When our doctor started bringing up these topics to our patients who were coming in for comprehensives and everything else under the sun, we realized that the overwhelming majority of the patients had no idea dry eye or dry eye services even existed. When we got into this, we knew of I don't know, 10, 15 products out there, a little bit. We dove into it. Now we're into like 400 products and all the testing and treatment. So if it's so new to us to realize and learn all this, these patients definitely are in the need of being told what's going on and bring it to their attention that these things even exist. And yes, you don't have to just suffer through it. There's a lot out there and there's something for everybody.
Yeah. So this brings us to our next point here, where how can we create an easier shopping experience that translates into our patients getting the treatments that we need? So I know you've done a lot of extensive research in this, especially now across your 10 clinics, and then now your dry eye rescue shop by itself. Why is this so important?
It's really important because there's a real disconnect, and there's always been a disconnect on by the time the doctor makes the recommendation and the patient actually getting it to the doctor, recommending it and the patient obtaining the product. And everyone knows these challenges. This is nothing new. We weren't like somebody who just geniuses and figured this out. Carrying products for us in the practice was a nightmare. If you carried more than two things, if you carried 5 products, that's 5 it's 5 manufacturers, 2 you order online, 2 you've got to text the rep, the 5th one you've got to call in. They all have different buy-ins. So what do? These are low margin transactions. So you buy a lot. Well, when you buy a lot, what happens? You've got to store it, which optometry especially is well known for extra storage everywhere. And then you do that, and then the stress of guessing the right amount of product you're going to sell, it doesn't sell as fast. 1 out of 8 cases of your Hydro Eyes expires, and all of a sudden, you lost all the money that you made on the beginning. So we all gave up, in my opinion. I think that's what we did. We said, this is just not worth it, even though I think we all deep down knew it would help the patient. So we designed Dry Eye Rescue for ourselves in the beginning. This whole thing started was just for our own practices, and has since obviously grown to now all 50 states, which has been a lot of fun. But making a single source inventory management stress-free scenario has made it, has given everyone the ability to sell these products to your patient in person. Second of all, one major challenge, getting all of the ODs on site to agree on anything. One person loves PRN, one person loves Hydro Eyes, one loves Focus. We have 12 ODs that work for us, and 2 don't agree on a vitamin. I wasn't even going to attempt to get everyone to agree on this. So we designed a program that, hey, out of 10 locations, there's overlap, but each one has a little bit different. We want the doctors to keep their autonomy. So we help the patient in person go, while you're here, here you go. And by the way, real quick on that, as an industry, we haven't been just telling everyone or just not carrying these products. We have been telling them where else to go get them.
Well, that'll lead me into my point, Dennis.
Yeah, go to CVS, go to Amazon, go everywhere else but here. So you don't have to give up samples, but samples don't help compliance. Selling the first one in person drives compliance and drives revenue. Then we say, now that you're starting off with these 30-day supplies, we're going to give you the product referral pad, which you might have seen them, kind of 8.5 by 11, has your own code, has the website and full color photos of all the products you recommend circled. So when that patient goes and they run out of those products and they need to reorder, you've given them a path to obtain the products that you've been recommending this whole time. So a real 1-2 punch. And patients really have not appreciated the homework assignment. Believe it or not, when they're in the office and we started giving our patients the product right there, they looked at us like we had 2 heads, like, wait, it's here. We're like, yeah. Oh, and by the way, here's a place to get it online once you leave. So it has gone a long way, in the, patient compliance is skyrocketed, product revenue, whatever you want to spend that on when you earn it, you can invest more into your dry eye practice. If you've been looking at a Luminous IPL, great. You start earning a few $1,000s a month in products, put that into, new equipment, new diagnostics, and raise the standard of care in your practice.
Well, I was speaking to somebody too the other day about the OTC market. And so they obviously have all the barcode scanners. And I was blown away by the stat that he shared with me. He said that it's a $2 billion industry, 1.2 coming from like Bruder masks and eye drops and all of the things that we sell.
6 billion worldwide. 6
Yeah,
billion
and
worldwide. Crazy.
8 billion, or the other 8 billion, or 0.8 billion comes from vitamins. And vitamins are sometimes sold in the vitamin area and then sold into that where the other eye drops are. So the vitamins actually have 2 points where people can buy them.
Yes.
So it's interesting. It does not account for what we're selling in our offices. And I think that we're good at getting these one-offs, and it's important to be that kind of one-stop shop. And we'll talk here about samples in a second. But how many times does that patient really come back to get that next thing? So we have to be there for them and make that easier.
One fun part about this, I say one fun, I sound like a nerd, but we were having fun with this. Out of everything you bring into your practice, it is up to you, the doctor, to create that demand. If you bring in an IPL, you have to create that demand for it. You bring in anything else, it is one more thing on your shoulders. This is the one thing that doesn't do that. Every OD out there and MD has been recommending products every single day of their career, right? So you're already doing that. On the other side, it's $1 billion industry. The patients are already buying them, just not from us.
Right.
All we're doing is saying, hey, why don't you capture 30-40% of this and make your patients' lives easier? There's nothing new here.
The $8, $10, or whatever, it does add up at the end of the day, where you are making the payment for the IPL or radio frequency you want to bring in or other pieces of equipment. So it's really those little additions that can functionally help you add different things to your clinic. So that brings me here to my next topic, displays. You guys love your displays, and it's a beautiful display. Mine is actually
en route,
I think, to my
If you can see behind me, there's about 80 of them that just came in. So
nice. So why, and I'll preface it this way, we are really good at showcasing our optical. People know we sell glasses, maybe not so much as sunglasses, but looking to other industries like Mac in makeup or Sunglass Hut, right? It's all about how we display to the patient, and you hit on the head there, the psychology. So why is it important, and why should we be displaying what we prescribe? And I hate the word recommend because I've gotten that's a bad word in my practice now. Into prescribing, but now showing the patient what we prescribe.
There's a lot there. It really does a lot. When we got into this, my brother, if anyone knows Dr. Aaron Evans, if we get an idea, we go just cannonball in. We don't kind of tiptoe around. So it was Oculus Keratograph, LipiFlow, BlephX, Luminous IPL. We were the first ones in Florida, which we didn't know that at the time. Went all in. But if you stood back at our front door and looked at our main practice there, we were focusing on dry eye. We looked identical to our competition across the street who didn't even have a heat mask in a drawer. And not everyone can treat dry eye, but we were not the same. We had nothing in the building. All the pressure was on our doctor's shoulders in the exam room. So that was one thing. With these displays, we wanted to showcase this, like you were just saying. And on the products, I told Aaron, I have to throw myself under the bus here, 5 years ago, I said, listen, products don't sell, it's pointless. Well, we said that in one of our offices, and then the three of us, including the manager, had spent about 10 minutes looking for the products that we sell at the practice. They were in a second room in a drawer. Go figure, it might have been our strategy on why products didn't sell.
Right.
So what we're doing with this is creating awareness. In marketing, that's the biggest phrase ever, creating awareness. And our goal, by the time our patients go through our process of check-in, they walk past the main display, 32-inch, 27-inch flat touchscreen TVs, all the beautiful products they've never seen before. By the time they sit in that exam chair, we want them asking the patient, we want them asking the doctors about that stuff, dry eye, before the doctor even has to bring it up. And if they don't bring it up first, at least when you do, it's not out of left field. One more thing on that one. We really did. We didn't know this when we started, but we really nailed it down last year. At-home treatments drive in-office treatments. The more drops, wipes, and masks that we sold, the more LipiFlow, tear cares, and IPLs that we did. Dry eye became more of a normal part of our staff and doctors' daily routine. It wasn't the one out of 20 patients needing an IPL. It was dry eye throughout the whole day. So when IPL and LipiFlow came up, even our staff, from all the positive feedback from patients on these new products that they've been trying, were like, oh yeah, you got to try this. This is great. It really made it as normal as pulling benefits on VSP for somebody,
Yeah.
and that
And I
really is
think
what helped drive
too,
it.
it helps you when you say drive, it helps the patient drive their care also, because they may
Oh,
not
yeah.
even be thinking about that road or thinking that they have that issue. And then
And
something
yes,
probes them. And with all of us, being on our phones and not really looking at any displays, we do need those things to entice the patient to ask those questions.
I tell
So
you
this does
what.
bring me to a
Oh, go
poll
ahead.
here.
Okay.
What do you guys sell in your practice? Are you selling OTC eye drops, eye masks, vitamins, omega-3s? I don't really sell anything, or I sell everything that I prescribe.
Oh, I can't vote. Oh.
No, you can't vote.
I think we're up to around 22 products we sell on average in our practices, by the way.
22 products. That's amazing.
At minimum.
Great. And the buy-in isn't that as much as we think it is either, but we'll get to that in a second.
Well, no, you grow into it. It's whatever our doctors like to do.
Awesome. So some people are selling some OTC drops, selling what they prescribe, some vitamins, a little bit of everything. So again, a low barrier to entry here. I'm going to also launch my second poll here. Let me stop sharing that. Here. Let's see. We talk a lot about staff time too. And what I find is as soon as I prescribe something, I will grab it and walk it up to the patient so it's in front of them. So when you're what are you specializing in? Are you specializing in primary eye care, myopia management, dry eye, aesthetics, other things that you're bringing to your practice? So one of my big passions, just like Dennis, is for dry eye, is the myopia management piece to all of this. And so I think the heaviest thing is learning what you're passionate about and doing that and leaning into that and finding ODs around your area that like to do these things. So
You have
you
have a couple of associates that are into different things, whichever one, if you have 3 offices and one OD just loves dry eye, listen, give him or her the tools, let them run, and you can scale up later if you choose, but at least you've got somebody who's doing what they're really passionate about, which keeps you from having to motivate them, right? They're off and running.
So we're all great about caring for our patients, and we do spend the time that it takes to educate the patient. So it's just about taking it that step further. You're talking to doctors all across the country, like myself, and the doctors that are doing really well, and the doctors that are kind of struggling. What are the top doctors doing, and what can we learn from them?
One of the biggest things, trying the products yourself. When we got into, it sounds crazy, but every OD and MD I've talked to, including all of ours when we started, were familiar with a good number of products. When we said, which ones have you used? Crickets. I mean, crickets. Just no one knew anything. And the reason I say it like that and why I encourage everyone, our site has no minimums. It's a free password. If you've been looking at Zocular Zest treatments and you want to try one. Because when you try these products yourself, when we did that in our own offices, what took us off the ground and from the beginning, and a lot of the ones that we work with now, everyone bought like say 5 or 6 products, and we gave them to our ODs and our key staff to try out. We said, listen, there's no test, don't try and regurgitate we have a lot of great reps, by the way, amazing reps who did a lot of trainings, but that doesn't help my front tech in 6 weeks. Try and, when a patient asks about Optase Intense, they're like, they don't remember the one-liner the rep told them 6 weeks ago while they're eating a bagel at 10 minutes till open. I'm sorry. However, the doctor and the staff that tried the drops out, your body language comes out to these patients. You're not selling anything. You're telling a story. Like, hey, how are those iMed Pharma's lid wipe? Oh man, I use those like crazy. Ask me about hypochlorous spray. I have it, I use it 4 times a day. I didn't know it existed 3 years ago. So one of the biggest things is, one, display the products, but try them out. Every month, pick 1 or 2, pick your key staff. And again, all this spreads out the efforts and energy to create awareness for this. It's not all on the doctor. If you have a coordinator, dry eye coordinator, or key tech that's used these products, listen, you recommend it, they're going to talk the patient's ears off right out front. It's going to come off naturally. And I promise you, if you like the product, your patient's going to be over the moon, because all they're aware of is Visine, Yeah. So if they start using Oasis Tears or Fresh Coat or anything, they're going to be pretty freaking happy.
Well, you said something there. It is about your staff. So when we do go to these seminars and we go to exhibit halls, right? Your staff wants to know where you were. They want to be part of your practice. And so we do, do lunch and learns and things like that. So everybody can try it in. That's how we brought in tear care and things like that, or even myopia management. We get them involved with the representatives. And just like our patients will forget 90% of what we said from the exam chair to the front desk, our staff also needs to reiterate this. So I think it is about focus and creating something for the next 90 days that you're going to focus on.
One more big point that did with us that I didn't know in the beginning. All right, we've got some awesome staff. By the way, one of our GMs, Kirsten, is the one who came up with the sample bag idea that took us off the ground with our staff. But it was building comfort level and confidence. Mm-hmm. We went from 0 to LipiFlow. So, our ODs were in the office and we're like, hey, bring up LipiFlow. Okay, $1,000 out-of-pocket procedure. And if it didn't go well, they were kind of a little shock and awe. Once they tried drops and some wipes and the vitamins, and they just started building up more and more comfort level in their confidence, if they would bring up LipiFlow or IPL or any of the in-office treatments, tear care, and what would happen is, if the patient said, hey, I'm not ready for that yet, the doctor wasn't backpedaling. They go, listen, I just want you to know everything that we have available here on site. I have access to all the top over-the-counter products. We're going to start you off on an amazing protocol. As you come in for follow-ups, if you feel that you're not really where you need to be, that we have the technology here to take care of you. You don't have to go looking somewhere else. So you're basically building a pipeline. It's like with a monthly contact lens wearer, you're trying to get to daily, right? What do? You give them a 2-week sample, you slow play them. Then you give them a daily sample and you slow play them. So all these products are doing is helping everyone out there. If you're already a dry eye expert and you've been doing it for a decade, we're a turbo we're like putting a turbo on a Porsche. It's going. If you are brand new and you're just trying to get comfortable, we don't cost anything. We give you access to the entire market, and we help take some of that pressure off of you from selling it in the exam lane. So, but long-winded answer, try the products.
To my next poll question is, what is your greatest challenge when bringing something to your office? Is it cost, staff pushback, patient pushback? You don't really know where to start, because I think we can also get paralyzed by all of the decisions. And you said it, there's 400 and counting dry eye products. Same thing with myopia management. I think it's just where your focus is going to be, and then getting that off the ground. So I get it, as a busy practitioner, you're dealing with payroll and your fire extinguisher going out, and then bringing in this product, and this sales rep comes in unannounced, or you've got your phone ringing and all your to-do lists, right? Exactly. So I think it's important to just, again, remain focused on where you're doing. So, and don't get discouraged by a no, right? It takes time to get your elevator pitch down and what you're presenting to and who you're presenting to. So I think it's really important to your staff not get discouraged by a no or not right now. And then just when you're bringing those patients back in for your follow-up or evaluations, because follow-up means free. So when are you going to bring them back in for a dry eye evaluation?
And
or
one really quick thing on the hesitation of our industry to get back into selling products or even offer them in the first place. We've all had a bad experience. We've all had product expire on us. It's crazy. Well, one thing I just saw in your poll there was total cost. Again, with this, all we're saying is carry just enough to fill the first order. A drop and a wipe, carry 5 of each. We don't care. have enough that you can give that first one in order. You're not buying 8 cases when you only need 8 bottles. So toe in the water, be able to start small. If you bring in 3 products and 10 of each, right? 10 bottles. And by day 2, you're halfway out. You're like, okay, I obviously need to order more. If 2 sell, great. Take 2 weeks to sell them. There's no pressure. And it gives you a chance to really get familiar with how to talk to your patient, who likes what, but your cost is extremely, extremely minimal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's important. And
Yeah.
it's finding companies that do value that. Here, I'm going to paint a picture for you. So turning confused patients into confident patients and why that helps us build our specialty practices. So you gave a patient maybe on a sticky note what you wanted them to go get with really no evaluation or follow-up visit for them to come back. Walk by your local Walgreens and just sit there for 5 to 10 minutes and watch how people are looking at this dry eye phenomenon where there's 50 or 60 bottles. They don't know what they're looking for.
Brianna, it's the aisle of uncertainty. It is just, you start getting cold sweats and you're like, I'm not even going down that aisle. Forget it. I'll try again.
And it's funny, like as an optometrist, when I see the person doing it, obviously I'm not going to say or recommend. I just look at that. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is such, number one, a lost opportunity. You've got a confused patient. And then what do they all go to? Something that's familiar, and they end up with Visine. I'm not kidding. I've seen it happen time and time again. And so I think this is the opportunity, is to really build competent patients. They want to be involved in their care. They want to know that it's working and they want to get that relief. So why are we, or how can we improve upon this easily, Dennis?
I'll tell you how. One, you can't sell what you don't have. Have something in the office, right? 2, remember this. A lot of your patients actually like you. A lot of patients like their doctor. My quick story is, I have a vet. My favorite vet has saved my dogs a million times. Random story. But I would easily pay this man 20, 30% more for products if they're there. He tells me what I need, and then he turns his monitor towards me on Amazon, and he's pointing to the screen. And I'm like, Dr. Barton, listen, I left my office, got my 140-pound Great Dane puppy here. Like, just give me what I need. And he's like, well, now you have to go find it. So 2 things. One, it's the same thing in your offices. These patients have left their busy lives. You have their full attention. Help them out and don't give them a homework assignment. You're not helping them. They don't have to get it from you also. If they say, I like Amazon, God bless, go for it. 40, 50, 60% are going to want to do it in the office. Help your patients, get rid of the disconnect. If they leave your office without that product, the chance of them obtaining the product just plummets. This is not new science. This is not new math. This is not new facts. It's just the way it is. So sell it the first one in person, then we drive them to dryeyerescue.com, and then half the profits all go back to the doctor. And now you have a chance, rather than capturing 0 of what they spend, or 1 month if you sell it in office, you have the potential to capture 12 months of what they spend. And God forbid, when your patients come back in for their follow-up and you ask them how they're doing, they say, oh, I've used all 3 products for the last 6 months straight. Can you even imagine if they did that?
Well, this here brings me to one little last poll here. Do you find samples valuable in your practice? Just a yes or no, quick question here. So we've got half the audience saying yes and half of them saying no. So
this is always a fun question.
Challenge you here. I've actually got rid of samples in my practice because I think that it's difficult. It puts me in a weird situation as a doctor too, because we're not really assigning any value to anything. So I was also speaking to somebody in the industry, and they said it is amazing that for $1, typically the cost of a sample, you're giving that patient relationship to somebody else. So that's the value of a sample, That's why they give them out like candy, is because, again, we're giving that relationship that we built with the patient away. And so I think it's a way to close that loop and close that care loop to really better understand the patient, better take care of them, and then enable us to do better things for our patients with our practices.
I think you're absolutely right that is a key aspect of just handing off that relationship. One other thing that I found out over the last 4 years, just fighting our way through this and doing it a million different ways, a lot of them that didn't work. We don't present that to the world. We don't tell anybody about those ideas that didn't work.
I'd like to know a failure here,
Yeah.
Dennis, because
Okay.
maybe we can get something
Okay.
out of it.
Yeah. Worst idea ever. We tried to put products in the exam room, didn't work. Don't do it. Okay. I installed it at 9 a.m. By 10:30, my staff had pitchforks and fire. Don't do that. On the samples part, we're in a lot of doctors and my own doctors and us, we look at it as helping the patient to try something. All right. Well, what are we doing? What's the negative consequence? It does not help patient compliance. They leave with a sample that they never buy and they don't use it. That doesn't get us to our goal. However, we do still want to help the patient. So in our practices, in a lot of offices that I work with that are really tied to, we want to keep samples. I say, great. If you're selling Optase Intense and you have Optase samples, sell them the first month and toss in one sample as kind of a bonus kicker. So they're still leaving with a 30-day supply in hand, and you've helped them with a little bit of a boost on product there. So
I like that.
That has been something that I have seen that really has been a win-win, because listen, you can like your idea all, as much as you want, but it's how is it producing what's the goal? Goal is patient compliance. You want them to use these products. So keep the samples.
Well, you want them to use the product, but you want them to get better, right?
Yes,
because
that's my point. And it's going to help them if they'll start doing that.
Yeah, and then how many times, if we look at it, right, just over the last week that you were in practice or the last couple of days, how many patients did you see back for their annual visit? You gave them lid scrubs or a dry eye drop that you wanted them to use, and you ask them how it's going, right? 9 times out of 10, they're like, well, I never got it, and I still have the issue, right?
Yes.
So not only have we allowed a disease state to progress, but there's so much discombobulation there that, again, we're doing the patient a disservice by giving them samples. I do like that kicker there, where you're selling it and then using the sample.
Add it on. And I've got one step further. One step further with that, what we do is the first one's in person. Get them the first one, toss in a sample on top if you want. When they leave and they go online, let's say to dryrescue.com, where half the profits come back to the doctor. Well, when they go to that office, when they go to dryrescue.com, we pump the subscription marketing, and we get them to sign up for subscriptions at their usage levels. So in which they can pause it. If they're traveling for 2 months, they can put it on hold. But we do everything humanly possible to keep it to where they're using it's an average of 2.3 products, average order $68, and they're cruising throughout the whole year. So that right there, and we're pushing at least 22-23% of all orders are annual subscriptions now. And they've been going for 18 months. So, and having something that's flexible, it's not going to keep stacking up on their shelves at their house, and because they weren't using it fast enough, they can pause it, they can change how often they get it, etc. But listen, it all goes back to the same thing. At-home treatments drive in-office treatments. Carrying products in the past was a nightmare. Now it's easy. And helping your patients by getting access to all these products will also introduce them to the insane, amazing technology in the offices, like LipiFlow, Tear Care, IPL, BlephX, all the fun stuff that's out there, and gets them asking about it. Let's stop selling it and make it to where, they know more about it.
Yeah, and obviously we don't want this to all just be a sales pitch. We hope that you got little nuggets here that you can bring back. And so it's just about representing the industry, bringing the industry closer together to help us be able to better serve our patients. So again, being one of the co-founders of Dr.Contact Lens, it is about time. We're all pressed for time. Time is the commodity here. You can schedule a demo to see Dr.Contact Lens in action. So just like Dry Eye Rescue is working for you there, Dr.Contact Lens is working for you in the background as well. Where again, we're connecting the contact lens prescription back to your practice. I read a stat the other day that 16 million for their contact lenses online without the online retailer doing any of the examinations. So we're doing all the work, but we're letting somebody else pick up all the profits. So I think it's really, really imperative that we bring all this back together. The patients want to be sold to. They do at the end of the day. They are there for us to help them solve a problem. And we get to live in an environment where we get to prescribe it and then sell it to the patient. So if you've not taken a Dr.Contact lens, do yourself a favor. And then also with Dry Eye Rescue, give us your 1-minute elevator pitch here, because I know people got to get back to patient care, and we'll move there.
Basically, Dry Eye Rescue is a no-cost program. It's the 3 main components. You have your displays, your wholesale distribution, a single one-stop shop for all the products, no minimums, and an affiliate site, dryeyerescue.com, where you send your patients to place their reorders, and half the profits all come back to your office. Our displays, listen, we create awareness in the office. We get more patients in the pipeline asking about these services that you have invested in. You've already invested all the time, got the equipment, you've got off the ground. Help them know about it and take some of that pressure out of the exam lane. And with our program, you can quit anytime you want. Everyone always tries to kind of figure out what the catch is, and there is no catch. There's nothing you have to do. If you want to use one component, great. You want to use all 3, go for it. This program we have a very, very diverse industry. 1 doctor, 50 doctors, 1 practice, 100 practices, all different sizes. Take a look, get a free password and look around. I'll say that is a great place to start.
Perfect. And I think you guys, one last thing to really understand is the value of the relationship that we have with the patient. Nobody gets that, and we are giving it away for free. So it's about that patient relationship. Everybody wants what we have. That's why you see ads all of the time. We do a great job. We don't have to be hunters. We have patients calling us every single day to see us. And that's the value that you bring as a doctor. So remember that, live in that, because we have such a plethora of this, and we are the competition. Everybody wants to be us. So it's important to understand 1 bottle for 1 patient adds up to $2 billion. That's what that adds up to. And that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg within our practices. Yes.
And by the way, FYI, my vet, after I brought all that to his attention, now carries like 4 or 5 products in his office.
Did you just get into veterinary medicine now too?
Oh yeah, pet rescue. It's on the way.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love the entrepreneur spirit. So don't miss our next live one event where we're going to talk about why owning more than your practice is a benefit to you, and the power of partnering with companies that profit your patient and your practice. I'm going to be joined on Wednesday, June 7th at 12:30 with panelists from Pacific Artisan Labs, with Brandon Butler, the CEO, and Jim Day. And we do have a question. Oh, thank you, Nathan. Hope everybody learned something from this, and a little nugget that you can go in and see your patients with, as I'm about to do here for the next half of my day. So thank you so much for joining us on your lunch hour, or on the West Coast, your coffee break in the morning. Yeah. We appreciate it, and check us out. So thank you so much, Dennis, for your time.
Thanks a lot, Brianna.
And everybody have a great rest of your day. Bye, everybody.
Bye.